How'd you feel about the game last night, man? Like,
Bro, that game, I got some content to make afterwards. It was frustrating, man. I was legit sitting back just sighing every time somebody on Philly hit a shot because coming into this, I kind of figured Embiid wasn't playing. I
mhm.
was like, okay, we only need two things to happen to win this game easily. Just need James Harden to be mid like he was in the first round because he wasn't shooting well, he wasn't finishing well. Just try to make him just be a playmaker and not be like he was 4 or 5 years ago. You just need that to happen, and you just need one of his role players not to catch fire. And both of those things happened. Bro had his probably best playoff game of his career. And then D'Anthony Melton came in and had like what 5 of 6 out of threes. Felt like
Yeah.
Tobias Harris wasn't missing. It just felt like we weren't missing, but they weren't missing either. And by the time we got to the end of the game, that's when I cut on playback, and that's the content I'm gonna make later because I was telling Kobe that was on stage with me. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you how this is gonna go. Like, we're gonna lose. This is what happens. You've been a Celtics fan probably as long as I have. It's just like a script that's
Yeah, you know
always
the
reused.
vibes. Yeah,
It's a vibe. It's just a vibe, and we just keep reliving it. So they've done the one thing that I didn't want them to do in this series, which was lose a game without Joel Embiid, and especially not the first one. Like this is the worst case scenario by far.
I ain't gonna lie. On my last stream, I said number one, we don't have any excuses in terms of injuries, talent, health, the path. No excuses to not make the finals.
Yeah,
I also said on my last stream, given all of that, that this would go to 5 or 6. So I knew the Sixers, even with Embiid's health, they were gonna pull at least one, maybe two. But the first game, dog, like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad because like now there's zero pressure on Philly whether Embiid plays in game 2 or not. And now they have a blueprint there. If Harden is magically making everything again, we might lose both games at home. I doubt it, but still, it's not like Boston excuse me, it's not like Boston really played bad yesterday. Again, the rim pressure was there. There was no paint protection, so they abused that. Tatum was going off in the first half. It's just Harden was Harden, which that wasn't in the equation. When I did my series predictions, 2018 Harden was not in the equation. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is not good.
Listen, Dom. You can tell the real truth over here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my real truth out, man. I'm pushing my agendas. See that chat. That's what happens when the best player on your team doesn't just run and dunk.
uh,
Hey, chat. Hey, let's push the chat. That's what happens when the best player on your team has a bag, bro. You know what I'm saying? When the defense makes adjustments, I can make a counter adjustment and take over the game. So shout out to Giannis, man. Every failures don't exist. It's just steps to success. A step to success is watching that film last night from James Harden. Let me start off there. The second agenda I want to push is that last night it reminded me why in 2021 the real best player on the Brooklyn Nets was James Harden.
you had these ready. Okay.
I got notes, man. I got notes. I don't think y'all remembered when James Harden joined that team for the first couple of weeks when we were talking about MVP discussions. It wasn't Kevin. It wasn't Kyrie. It was James Harden. DOM2K. Am I wrong? Am I right?
No, I literally I remember on my second channel, I had a video. Like I knew Harden wasn't gonna win MVP, but I was like trolling and pushing a Harden MVP agenda. But yeah, I lightly remember this conversation around that time. He was really good winding up to the playoffs. I do remember this.
Yeah, man. So shout out to the best player on the 2021 Nets, man, James Harden. I think people, they forget because of that KD series and Harden was injured, KD was going off, and that's not to say KD isn't crazy, but I'm just saying on that team, the playmaker, the guy who was making shit happen for real, it was James Harden. You know what I'm saying? So let's just remember the greatness of James Harden because I think people have forgotten, man. He had that full season where he was pretty much injured last year. He was getting back in shape. He's reminded people this year why James Harden is James Harden, man. So
Yeah, no, I think it was just like I kind of just felt like it wasn't there anymore. When people go back and listen to my predictions for the Celtics series, this dates back to last year. Ever since Harden has been a member of the Sixers, it's like, okay, is he ever gonna play like he used to? Pretty much, because that's the pop I think Philly really needs for to make a deep run. Like he could talk about being a good playmaker, but in reality, they need something close to the Harden that you saw last night with that roster, I think, to make a deep run. And so I just thought it wasn't there anymore. It wasn't there last year. He said he was going to get healthy over the summer. This year, I think his playmaking has been the most impressive thing. And he was like, okay, cool. I need 45 to win a playoff game. Well, here it is. And yeah, I would have bet against that. I'll take my L's, bro. I would have. Before we knew you yesterday, I would have bet money against it. And so that's what happens, bro. Those are the vibes.
Listen, man. Yeah, I don't think any Celtics fan had us going like winning every single game. So it's part of it, especially being the Celtics fans. The upsets, they're gonna be there, man. They're gonna be there. Yeah. No ring period is easy, let alone a fucking Celtics ring, bro. There's gonna be drama in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I had it in 6. I called Boston in 6 regardless of Embiid or not, because I just saw going 6 with ATL and some of the carelessness that led to that. I was like, okay, so I can see a world where a loss like this ends up happening if Embiid isn't there or whatever, how many other games he plays. I was like, I'm not going to say we're going to sweep them. It's still probably somehow going to end up in 6. Something's going to happen. And lo and behold, here we are. Yeah. It'll probably still be that way.
My last agenda to push, and it's not even an agenda. It's just a question, Dom. And you might be able to help me answer it. How come KD couldn't pull one off last year, man? How come Kevin Wayne Durant couldn't pull off one game, bruh?
Oh, last year. You talking about last year?
Yeah, man. Listen, man. It's still the same squad. It's still the same players on the court. James Harden, without his best, you know what I'm saying? Without Joel Embiid, he could pull one off.
I had last year. I said Celtics in 6 or 7. There's no world where I thought there was going to be a sweep with Kyrie and KD. But Celtics got to get credit there too. That was the toughest series I've seen KD have since like 2014, probably, against Tony Allen, I guess. And so I think they just kind of used the rest of the Nets roster against them. They were able to crowd his space. That was the physicality that they really need to bring to. The physicality and focus that they need to bring to this run, basically, no matter who we're playing. Like that's how it's got to be.
But
no, a sweep is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like I understand the X's and O's, but I'm just looking at these crazy solo performances. Shout out to Harden. Shout out to Curry. Why couldn't Kevin Wayne do it, bruh? Why couldn't you do it, man? What's up with this guy, Dom? What's up with this guy, man?
Tough to win this time of year, man. It's extremely tough, as you see.
So going back to the Celtics series, how did last night change your confidence? Is it still Celtics in 5 or 6?
Did it change my confidence? I wouldn't say so, because again, the whole reason I had Celtics in 6 in the first place is because I figured somewhere that they were gonna drop a game that people think that they shouldn't drop. Mm-hmm. Last night was that game. I will say now that they lost the first one and that their backs are really against the wall, I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up taking 7. But in changing my confidence, maybe it did a little bit, because now I'm like, okay, well, if this is the Harden that you were counting on, or if this is the Harden that he's going to try to be, and they get Joel Embiid back, I'm not 100% sure if he can be that Harden with Embiid on the floor. But it's worrisome because, fam, they were running pick and roll last night with Paul Reed. That's not really a threat. Yeah. Horford can kind of drop and wait for Harden to do what he's going to do. But you throw Embiid into that equation, now you're looking at 2 threats on that side. So in changing my confidence, like if Embiid does end up playing in game 2, obviously that's a really winnable game for them. And then going back to Philly, it shook me a little bit just because James Harden far outpaced what I thought he was going to perform like. And so it seems like he understood that's the type of Harden that he needs to be. Yeah. And if he's shooting for that, like every game, next game, and after that, that's a problem. Because that's not the one I had in the equation. I didn't know he had it in him anymore. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know he had that in him at this stage. So a little bit shook.
I was hella surprised with that Malcolm Brogdon turnover, man. Because I always view Malcolm Brogdon as that calm dude that just makes the right basketball play every time. When he just passed it to Tyrese, bro, for an open fast break dunk, that hurt me, man. That I ain't gonna lie. Out of all the plays last night, that hurt me. Out of everything last night, in my opinion, my biggest takeaway: coaching is our biggest weakness. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I like Coach Mazzulla. You know what I'm saying? We've obviously won 57 games with him, second seed with him. So he's not a bad coach. But when it comes to the playoffs, those playoff adjustments, I miss Ime, man. Yeah. I miss Ime, man. I ain't gonna lie. I miss him. I think they should have played Rob Wilmore. I think they should have played Grant Williams more, surprisingly.
4 minutes, bro. I think he got 4 minutes last night.
Yeah, he only got 4 minutes. Derek White just had to play better. But honestly, that 3 guard rotation of Derek White, Marcus Smart, and Malcolm Brogdon, I was looking at the highlights this morning. James Harden is just shooting over the top of them. Like, I understand laterally they're good. They got good hands. They're physical and all. But every single time, step back to shoot over them. It's just a matter of like length. So in my opinion, they should put Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown on them. See what happens. And then Al Horford is getting cooked in the pick and roll, bro. Get in cooked. That's the I don't know what they should do on that front, because Rob Will, he can get cooked in the pick and roll too. So
yeah. I was thinking it's funny, before even coming on, I was thinking we might have an Al Horford discussion, because that's been our guy and he's been very solid, especially on the defensive end before. But now it really feels like with the age they kind of go to a base of drop with him.
mhm.
And the problem is, well, okay, if Harden in game 2 is as hot as he was in game 1, you're gonna have to play a Horford higher, or there's gonna be situations where, because of the screen, you might end up having to switch him, which just in this year, and in the year 2023, I'm not really that comfortable with anymore, to be honest. And Harden is extremely comfortable getting to his sidestep if he needs to, but you're talking about adjustments. We're not going to be able to just have Horford in the drop and let Harden just get to his left and just get an open shot off. You can't do that. So, it's an issue that we had with Steph Curry last year. What do? You got big guys. You want to use them. If they're not in drop, they're going to end up, having to be there. They're going to end up having to switch, which is a problem. You're just going to have to find what you can live with. But I don't think that is open James Harden jumpers in game 2. I don't think we should try to live with that, because now we're in a situation where we can't lose. And so if he gets hot, we're in trouble.
Yeah, and maybe it's an overreaction on my front, but I am looking at the Celtics team and the body language.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I don't think they're having fun playing together right now. I don't know, specifically Jaylen Brown though. For real, I don't think he's playing with joy. The body language isn't there. I think ever since the trade deadline, this whole team has just been very streaky. And I understand why, though. Jaylen Brown has, at least rumors-wise, like, it's not like he's out of line for thinking the way that he does. But I'm just talking about this year. I think last year's squad was just more focused. They were more locked in, and together. Maybe that's a Mickey Mouse take, but that's how I feel right now, man. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, I mean, I made a video at the beginning of the season, which people have basically been able to ignore, because Boston still had a good season.
Mhm.
But I was talking about all the different issues that they were cycling through, that because they've been winning, people forgot about. But losing Ime Udoka was a big thing, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And then all the stuff surrounding Jaylen Brown. Again, we're trying to make a finals run right now, so that's being ignored. But low key, as a Boston fan, I don't feel like he wants to be there for a long term. It doesn't sound like it. Everything he says sounds like he gets a chance to go, or we've tried to trade him before. That's the same thing we did to Ray Allen. That pissed him off. That's why he went to the Heat, who were the ops at that time.
Yeah.
And so Jaylen Brown feels a way. And right now, just in the interest of the Celtics, probably, they're probably still the favorites to come out of the East at the moment. People just aren't really having those discussions. But low key, in a year, they've kind of been through a lot, and it's just in the background until it's not. And if they lose in the second round, those talks will be heavy. If they lose this to Philly in the second round, those talks will be extreme, because Boston has been almost there for a long time now.
Yeah.
2020, 2018, like it's been a long time now. So
yeah, I mean, when it became clear that we robbed the Nets, the narrative was for the Celtics, this is the team to beat in the East for the next couple of years, right? And they have been. I'll say that they've been competitive. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals damn near on a perennial basis. They made the NBA Finals last year, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. We're at a point where it is like, championship or bust, for real. At least when it comes to the future of this franchise. Like, if we lose this year, I don't think any legacies will be shook for real. Like, if we lose, but just in terms of the future of this franchise, they're gonna have to make some tough moves, bro. Specifically with Jaylen Brown. But I love JB though. But that's tough. They got to make some tough calls like they usually do. So
yeah, no, you're spot on, bro. Like we're on pretty much year 5 of this. Like you said, 18 that conference finals run, 19 should have been a deeper run than it was, but there was a lot of circumstances on that. 20 ECF, 21 injured, 22 finals. Teams only get so many tries. You think they have forever because they're young, but there's a lot of factors at play, and I agree. Especially a premature exit would really probably end up resulting in some shakeups
Yeah.
this offseason.
Well, let me ask you this: from a Celtics perspective, how did you feel about not facing the Heat in the first round, and how did you feel about the Heat playing the way that they did against the Bucks?
I was a huge proponent of not getting the Heat in the first round,
Thank you, bro.
precisely
Thank you,
because of
bro.
what happened to the Bucks. I wanted ATL all the way because I knew their paint defense was weak sauce. They've been mid the entire year. I thought that we matched up well. We definitely matched up well enough with them to sweep. I mean, you ended up in a 6-game, which is crazy after DeJounte Murray got suspended. But I thought the matchup was there. And going against the Heat, first of all, I just had PTSD from that Jimmy Butler shot that almost went in. I was in the arena with that. So that
you was?
Yeah.
Oh
I went to
yo, my heart literally I felt my heart literally stop when he took that 3, bro. That shit was scary, bro.
No, especially because we were talking about the vibes as Boston fans, everything that just basically the stupid shit that happens in games that we watch. I was so certain that we had just fumbled a finals run in about a minute and 30 seconds. And so, yeah, just from that, but that was before I even accounted from the Heat becoming the best 3-point shooting team in the playoffs. That was nowhere in the equation.
Yeah.
But just purely off the strength of Jimmy Butler and the fact that if you look at the roster from top to bottom for Miami, it's not a whole lot different than it was last year.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, they can get into a playoff series with us and know they played us well just 1 year ago, and that can be a problem. And it's not that I didn't think Boston could beat them, because I do think Boston can beat Miami. I just didn't want that in the first round.
Yeah.
Option to play the Hawks, and so I'm not afraid of the Heat. But yeah, if your option is Jimmy Butler in Miami or Trae Young in the Hawks, give me Trae Young in the Hawks 10 times out of 10. I'm very happy. And your second question against the Bucks, man, that's just some of the most unbelievable stuff I've seen in terms of the Bucks collapsing, in terms of Jimmy Butler's play. Once again, them just completely flipping the script on their 3-point shooting. There's just a lot of things in that series that I don't think you would have ever been able to predict. Maybe aside from Jimmy Butler, turning his playoff mode on. But Kevin Love is been valuable for them. Duncan Robinson just woke up all of a sudden and walked into the game and started hitting threes. No, thank God we didn't get them. And yeah, Milwaukee, that was even though Giannis got hurt at the beginning, that was still a crazy collapse. And yeah, I would have never ever bet on that.
Yeah, because it wasn't like he was injured, but it wasn't like, yo, I can only average 15 points a game injured. Yeah. Like he was still doing Giannis things out there, and they still had 2 games to extend the series, and they just failed with Giannis on the court. So that's why you can't you can only give them so much slack, and that's why I've been saying on these streams for real.
No,